What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the CarGuyStuff YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing something that every car guy out there has had to do at least once in his life or her life, and that is we got to wash the cars. Alright, so I haven't got to talk about this car too much. This is my pride and joy, my 1980 Corvette. I call it Princess. Drop a comment if you can figure out why. It's a pretty obvious reason, but not everybody figures it out. As a matter of fact, I've only had one person figure it out without me having to tell them. So we're going to do a quick walk around. As you can see, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but the car's kind of dirty. It was at the shop for a couple days. It's getting ready to probably go put away for the winter, unfortunately. It's October, but we actually have a really nice October day today. It's 75 degrees currently here in Ohio. So one thing I wanted to point out here, I have to get this adjusted here. It's not quite meeting. So we're going to try to avoid this area with soap because I don't want to get soap down inside the car. I probably won't even do the top either, at least not the glass part of the top, because I can do that with glass cleaner after the fact. I do want to try to get this area though, and then the rest of the car, as you can see. Alright, I'm going to put you guys up on the tripod so you guys can see a little bit better, and then we're going to get started. So, a couple things I wanted to talk to you guys about before we get started here. Typically, I would recommend that you wear soft clothing when you're washing a car. As you can see, I am wearing jeans today because it is only low 70s right now. But with this Corvette being as low and as narrow as it is, I'm fairly confident I can maintain, or I can reach everything I need to reach without having to get against the side of the car. If I do, I'll just be very careful. Next thing, empty out your pockets. I have my wallet, I have my keys in my pockets. You would be surprised that even through your pockets, you don't want anything protruding out, because one, you misjudge your how or where that is when you're walking around your car, because you can feel where your leg is, but you don't think about the fact you got something on top of that that's making your pocket stick out further, so you could rub against the side of the car by mistake. You don't want to do that. I use let me adjust this a little bit. I use what most people call the 3-bucket wash method. So obviously we need 3 buckets. So wash buckets separated out here. I actually have 4 of them because I got a good deal on a kit that came with an extra bucket after I already had 3. So this one, actually that one there is not going to get used. I usually just throw something at the store. I'm hoping you guys can hear me well enough. If not, this might be actually a voiceover telling you guys all this stuff. So anyways, as you can see in here, I have my wheel cleaning supplies. There's a couple alpaca, or what they call Rimpaca, wash. I have the Red Rocket to get really good in between the spokes. So those are going to go into my wheel bucket, which is on wheels. We have our regular wheel brush and a tire brush. So, yeah, so this bucket here is just going to get set off to the side. Alright, so now we're going to start filling up our buckets. The rinse bucket is just going to get water. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the grit guard. Empty that out. I'm going to inspect the bucket itself. You guys can see there's nothing in there. Just want to make sure that there's nothing down inside that can come up and get stuck on my wash mitt that would then cause a scratch in the side of my car, or anywhere on the car, I guess. It doesn't have to be the side. So I got that ready. This is my wash bucket. So again, we're going to remove the grit guard. We're going to inspect the bottom of the bucket. There's nothing inside the bucket here. There's some grass and stuff on the outside on the bottom, but nothing inside the actual bucket itself. So So to that, we are going to add some of the Chemical Guys Mr. Pink. Alright, I've already got my hose hooked up and turned on. After you get the bucket mostly full of water, what you do is you take your grit guard here, you put it in at an angle. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me back up a little bit so you guys can see that. Take your grit guard, put it down in at an angle, and then push all the way to the bottom so it seals to the bottom of the bucket. What these grit guards do is, I'll pull this one out and show you guys. So it's got all these little cones in it. They're narrow at the bottom than they are at the top. What that does is allows the dirt to settle down through, but then when it gets trapped, as you can see, it doesn't sit flush against the bottom. It's got a little bit of clearance here. So it allows the dirt to go down through these, sink to the bottom of the bucket, but then because these are narrower, it shouldn't allow too much of it to push back up through. So it's kind of like a filter for your buckets. So I got the wash bucket ready. Rinse bucket, I'm just going to fill up with plain water, nothing else. Okay, we take our now that should be nice and tight there at the bottom. Now what I usually do is I take all my supplies here and just toss them in the rinse bucket for a minute just to kind of pre-soak them and just clear water, just in case there's anything left over on them from last time they were used or just dust from the air. It gives them a chance to kind of get all that stuff rinsed out. I'm going to grab my wash mitt and throw that in there with those too. Got my handy little Chemical Guys wash mitt here. You can see it's got all these little microfiber pieces on it, which is great because it picks up dirt really well. When you're washing the car, it's not great because it picks up dirt really well. And when you're not washing the car, if there's any dirt around it, it will get stuck on these. Hence the reason I like to use the grit guards at the bottom, and why I like to throw this in my rinse bucket for a little bit before I wash the car. All right, take our Chemical Guys Diablo Wheel cleaner. Get a couple squirts here in our wheel bucket. Now technically I should remove the grit guard before I did that. Probably should get in that habit, but all right. I'm going to pause here real quick as I go inside. I got to get a couple more supplies, and then I'm going to reposition this camera so you guys can see what I'm doing to the car a little bit better. So I'll be right back. Okay, so off camera, a couple things I did. I switched from my garden hose to my pressure washer. I just connected the garden hose to that. I use an electric pressure washer. It's from Chemical Guys. Again, I'm not sponsored by Chemical Guys. I just really like their products a lot. So I like to start with the wheels and tires because they're the dirtiest part of your car. So if you do them first, you kind of got that out of the way and you don't have to worry about slinging dirt up onto other pieces as you're washing and spraying stuff off. So I'm going to get started on that. Obviously for that I'm going to need my wheel bucket. So I'm going to get the other ones out of the way. Drop all my products into my wheel bucket here. My wheel bucket, throw my rim brush, Red Rocket cleaner, another one my rim packet, and my tire brush. Now, the thing I'm going to bring with me is, sorry about that, didn't have these open, so I'm going to add a couple more things to this bucket here, which unfortunately is not in frame, so I'm going to bring it over here. So it is. It's my wheel bucket. So to that, I'm going to grab my tire and rubber cleaner, and this is after wash. Some extra Diablo Wheel cleaner. Now, obviously, you guys saw me pour some Diablo Wheel cleaner right into the bucket. This is just something to add a little bit more lubrication to the surface so that we don't scratch anything. Then I'm going to grab my little wheeling stool here. The one I use is a Performax. I got it at Menards. It was not too bad. I like it because it's got a little tool holder on the back of it. I don't know if I can get it in frame here easily. But it's got a little tool holder on the back here. I used to put my brushes and stuff that I use, but I'm going to keep those on the back side because I'm not using them for this part for the wash. So we're going to pre-soak all the wheels and tires, and then we're going to get started. The other thing I have here ready, so I take these two bottles here. I'm just going to make sure they're on and ready to spray. Yep. And then I just hang them right off the side of the bucket. Now we're going to take our foam cannon here. This is the Big Mouth torque cannon from Chemical Guys, and I filled it most of the way with water already. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to top it the rest of the way off with a little bit of the sticky snow foam soap, and then we'll be ready to foam. By the way, guys, if you've never used this particular soap, this one's, I think it smells like bubble gum. It's actually a really good smell. So I put my soap in, put the top back on. Just going to give it a little swirl. You don't want to shake it because you don't want to create any suds inside of this. So we're just going to stir it, kind of give it a little shake around so it stirs. So we got a pretty good distribution of soap and water in there. So I'm going to connect it to my pressure washer. I'm going to foam up the wheels and we're going to go. So the good thing about this soap, guys, is it is pH neutral, so you can kind of let it sit. I'm going to pop the end off, and we're going to put a actual rinse end on so I can rinse as I go. So like I said, I take our wheel cleaner, spray a little bit right there on that wheel, and then I always start with my red rocket. I'm going to get that nice and sudsy. Go all the way into all these spokes here, as far back as I can get, basically. This helps keep the barrel of the wheel clean too. So it's not just the face that we're getting here, we're getting everything, so we don't get, if there's any debris trapped kind of back in there, we get that off too so that we don't end up with it on our wheel face later. So that's done. Just sink that back in there. For this wheel, I'm not going to use these rim packets because they don't really fit well into these small openings, and pretty much the rest of the wheel is the face. So I'm just going to take my brush, get it nice and sudsy, go all over the face of the wheel here. Now the wheel's done, now I'm going to do the tire. So for our tire, we're going to spray down with a little bit of our Total Extract tire cleaner. Just like that. Now we grab the blue brush with the stiffer brush there. So it goes nice. So, got that one done. Go ahead and rinse it off. I use the 40-degree Connect fitting on it for my one. Basically, what I was always told is take your pressure washer, put your end on. You should be able to hold your hand about 6 inches in front. Spray. If it doesn't hurt, it's not going to hurt your car. Alright, one wheel done. We'll do the other 4 and I'll come right back to you guys. So one thing I was just say, sorry about that, my pressure washer just kicked on as I started talking. As you can see, I was going to wait and do all 4 tires and come back around to you guys and talk. I am unfortunately working in direct sunlight today. It's not super hot out. Like I said, it was low 70s. And the surface of the car is not hot, so I'm not too worried about the stuff drying on the car and creating water spots, but it might happen. But I want to show you, the foam has kind of ran off the tires here, so it's not too big of a deal. So what we're going to do is we're just going to give them a quick, we're hit them quick with our pressure washer here. Just to re-wet the surface a little bit. And then, like I said, I already have the tire and rubber cleaner, small bottles here, so I will get those out, and I'll hit the face of the wheel as I finish up this side. So I'll be back with you guys in just a moment. All right, so now I'm finally done with all the wheels, and we're ready to continue with the rest of the car. I'm sorry I'm keep winking at you. The sun's like right over there, so it's hit me right in the eye. But while we were doing the wheels, the wash bucket, it's looking a little low on suds here. So it was pretty sudsy when we filled it up. As you can see, it's pretty empty now. So just gonna give it a little top off. Push that, make sure that goes all the way down to the bottom. And then what I do is I put the head into the water. Suds. Alright, I'm going to take my wash mitt here, lay it out, and toss it in there so it can get nice and full of suds. I'm going to take this end off, and I'm going to switch over to the foam cannon and foam down the car. So, since it is kind of sunny today, it's not very warm, but it is sunny. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the side of the car where the sun's facing, and then I'm going to wash that side of the car first. So, sign of the fall, we have a nice leaf that landed right in the middle of my hood. So I gotta get that off real quick. Alright, so I start the bucket wash process. I'm going to take the so one thing, don't mean to kind of cut myself off here, but one thing about this car has been ceramic coated professionally. It does, as you can see, the soap is kind of already running off. That helps a lot, having that coating on there. It's more dusty than actually like stuck on dirt, so I may not wash the mitt a whole lot with this car. If the car's a lot dirtier, then what I do a lot of times is I'll wash the top part of the car in one pass and then rinse the mitt, and then I'll wash the bottom half of the car one panel at a time, rinsing the mitt between each one. But with this one, I think I'll be able to get the whole car, or the whole side of the car in one pass, both top and bottom, without having to rinse out the mitt. I'll check the mitt after a panel just to make sure that I'm good. So I'll do the top half, do the bottom half, and then we'll see where we're at. So as you can see, the foam's kind of already ran off the side of the car. Like I said, the sun is right over here, so it's going to dry up and run off that side quicker. So we're going to hit that side quickly with the mitt, rinse that side off, and then hopefully, if I hit it with a little bit of after wash, it won't be stuck. It won't have a bunch of stuck on water spots. Our suds up here. So what I'm doing here is this body line here, I'm kind of using as my guide. So from here back, we're going above that line. Middle of the top. So nothing too bad on the fire from the mill here. I'm going to go ahead and rinse it. So just take this, put it on the bottom. Hold that grit guard, rinse it out, get more foam, start down here. All right. Again. So I drop my rinse bucket, and grab my pressure washer wand. When you're washing, also only go back and forth one direction or side to side. Don't swirl, because if there is something stuck to your mitt or something stuck to the car you don't see, going back and forth, if you happen to make a scratch, if you make it in a straight line, it's a lot harder to see than if you make a swirl, because a surface scratch going one direction is really only visible from one side looking at it because of the way the light hits it. If you make a swirl, it's visible from every direction because the light's going to hit part of that swirl somewhere. So just a hot tip for you guys. As you see, I'm going to do the whole hood, or half the hood, rinse. I'm not saving the front bumper for last, because it is the dirtiest part of the car other than the wheels. So a little more suds. We're going to walk over to the other side and do the other side of the hood. I like to go long ways on the car, back and forth. I feel like I get more done quicker that way. But now the whole hood of the car is done, so I'm going to go ahead and rinse the mitt and do that front bumper, and then we can rinse the whole front end of the car Well, I shouldn't say that. I have to do that side fender, and then I'll rinse the whole front of the car. Add some more suds to our wash bucket here too. Incidentally, in the description of the video, I'm going to leave a list of the products that I use. Again, I'm not sponsored by anybody. These are just the products I use currently. If somebody wants to pay me for saying that I use their products, then I would love that, but currently that's not the case. I use the products I use because I like the way they work. And because the customer support has been great to me. And now that I bought a couple things off them, they start giving me a discount. So one thing I should have mentioned probably when I was using the foam cannon is why I use a foam cannon. The whole point of using a foam cannon is you get soap on the car without touching the car, so that the surface dirt that's on there already has a chance to be kind of pulled away from the surface of the paint, so that when you hit it with a wash mitt after you've let it kind of do its thing, it doesn't get stuck to your wash mitt and it doesn't rub against the surface of the car. This car, especially because of the ceramic coating, it works very well. I don't know if you guys can see this. Get that pretty wet there. See all those water beads just beading up and running off? That's because of the ceramic coating that's on this car. There's a couple other things on here. There's a gloss and a sealant on top of that, but that's mostly just because of that ceramic coating, like I said. There's also a wax on top of those things too. But like you can see, it makes the car very hydrophobic. It's got these big bubbles on here. I find the best way to prevent water spots is to keep the car wet. We're almost done with this car. I got to do the other side and the back, and then it can get dried, and then we're gonna pull in my other car, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit. Actually, I'm going to pull in my Honda that you can kind of see in the background right here, and give it a wash, because it's going to be, now we're coming up on winter, it's going to be getting driven every day. So obviously the next step is you gotta dry it. Before I do that though, I'm gonna hit it with some afterwash spray, which helps kind of keep the surface of the car lubricated while you're drying it with a towel. And I'm really excited because I get to try my brand new towel from Chemical Guys. Let me go show you guys. So this is the afterwash I was talking about. This is the new product I was talking about. It's called the Thirst Trap Microfiber Chamois Drying Towel, or chamois, however you pronounce it. So what it is, basically it is 2 pieces of microfiber with a chamois sandwiched in between them, so it should be able to be wrung out like a chamois, but it should hold and dry like a microfiber. So we're going to see how this works. Alright, so I got my afterwash here. We're going to try to spray because we don't want to put tons on it. We just want to give it a nice little spritz as we dry. So start with this side of the car because it's going to dry the quickest if I don't hit it. So kind of letting it fall where it does. It's not any really technique for this stuff. You just kind of get a quick spritz. So take this. First thing is I'm going to take the little piece of tag here and we're going to yank it off. And we're going to toss that aside. So that way we don't want that against the side of our car. This edge is nice and soft. Wow, that was quick. Yeah, I got that really good. So Incidentally, real quick. So I fold my towel this way, or at least this one I'm going to do this way. Fold it this way so there's always a dry section you can flip to. And also so that I'm not putting as much pressure directly onto the surface of the car. I use one hand, spread my fingers out, just hold it to the side of the car and wipe. We don't want to put a lot of downward pressure on it. All right, so that one's done. Now I know there's probably a lot of you out there thinking, you may be able to see it on camera, that the windshield is very dirty. I didn't do anything to that yet. My personal way of doing that, I always let the windows kind of dry naturally, and I do those when I have the car inside the garage, so it's not in direct sunlight, so that the glass cleaner doesn't dry up on the surface. So I'm going to call this one done. I'm going to move it out of the way, and I'm going to get set up, and we're going to do the Honda next. So stay around.